Hi and welcome to another Huddle Breakdown Extra Time. I'm your host Martin Murphy and joined as ever by James. How are you today, James?
I'm good. I'm a little tired. My wife and I and our daughter went up to Toronto for a couple of days, and that's about a 7-hour drive, más o menos, as I would say to my wife. So not a lot of sleep, a lot of driving and a 3-day turnaround. But it was. I love Toronto. I love Ontario. Went to a couple of games. Got to see the Yankees get their ass kicked, which was great because I hate the Yankees. So it was good. Good, but tired. A little tired.
Yeah. Well, you look fresh as a daisy, James.
no shave. I got my Chris Farley shirt on. I'm rocking it. I'm ready to go.
So for those of you on audio, get yourself onto video at some point. He is absolutely rocking it. So no Alan at the moment. Obviously, he's over in Van Diemen's Land.
About a week away. He'll be back in about a week.
There.
Yeah, we're getting there. Running the clock down for all the people that are miserable dealing with me in isolation.
We're holding fast like a defence versus Atalanta here.
That's right. That's right.
But a lot to pack into the show, and you've been very industrious, James, which I'll come to in a moment. But a few things to talk about. Obviously, we had the match in the Como tournament against Ajax of Amsterdam, where, spoiler folks, Celtic failed to achieve the mid-season treble, the pre-season treble rather. So a fairly heavy defeat to Ajax, which we'll be discussing in a little bit of detail, sadly, but has to be done. That's what we're all about. We'll also be paying tribute to John Fallon, the 12th Lion, who sadly died earlier in the week, so soon after John Clark as well. So to lose another one of that team from Lisbon's a tremendous sadness. So we'll be paying tribute to John later, and also that'll be part of Poetry Corner as well. But James has done some terrific work, I think, and we'll be getting into this in a lot of depth as well. It's continuing on from what he and Laura were talking about earlier in the week, and we're looking at how Celtic are run strategically, financially, where that places us within the framework in Scotland and in Europe, maybe projecting ahead and so forth as well. So some really interesting pieces there that James has put together. But right into the Ajax match then. So I've been trying to put a bit of a kind of positive spin on things. I think back to the start of the centenary year when we lost 5-1 at home to Arsenal famously, and it was all looking terrible. Then we brought in Frank McAvenny and all the rest of them, and went on to win the double, and it was an absolutely marvellous season. Do you think that's going to happen again, James? You're right on the spot.
I feel strongly both ways, as my grandfather used to say. I as most people I think say, intellectually we know that these games don't really mean anything, and that the Newcastle game was no more an indicator at 4-0 than this one probably is at 5-1. Actually, a lot of the underlying data wasn't all that much different between the two games. I mean, shots were kind of equal, and possession wasn't that extreme either way. So again, when one team scores a couple of great shots from distance and that type of thing.
Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we say. When you play against teams of this level, you can run into a hornet's nest when actually the balance of play isn't that skewed against you, and you just facing really good players. I mean, that I'll call him a kid because he's still a minor. He's 17 years old playing center back at Ajax. I mean, guys like that, wow, size and age doing that. I mean, it's just like you just tip your cap. Like, I was jealous with his afro, number one, because man, that's some nice hair he's got. As a guy with the Friar Tuck movement going, quite jealous with his locks. But yeah, so I think there's some parts that we can take away from it. To start with the optimistic part of it, I think Dane Murray continues to look like he's, playing the part. He does not look out of kilter or like he's overwhelmed at all. I mean, he seems like he's so far so good. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And this was another check mark in the list of saying, okay, let's get to the point where hopefully he's going to have a meaningful role this season. I think Nygren overall was, impressive, shows a lot of positive things. I think we also saw the importance of changes in roles, meaning that I suspect he's not been a player that's dropped a lot into his own 18-yard area as part of buildup, because he was mostly a winger / number 10 that played high and in the attacking areas for Nordsjælland. So this might be something that's relatively new for him, playing that Matt O'Reilly role in that aspect of play. And overall, I think he's been fine. Like in the other games, I think he's been doing a good job. But guys make mistakes. And it was a bad mistake, a bad pass from Carter Vickers that kind of put him in a rough spot. And he then made a bad, that's why Alan always says three mistakes usually lead to a goal.
Better he does that in a game against Ajax in the Como Cup than a Champions League qualifier, and hopefully learns from that.
And he may. I mean, that's the whole point. But your point's well taken. I mean, this is the time for players that are maybe somewhat new to the system and specifics, or maybe their role within that system to have some teething. So I'm not concerned by that. I mean, I think overall his balance of play throughout the preseason has been very, very positive and encouraging. Tierney continues to look like the awesome player that he is. We talk about some of the tactical stuff in a minute, but so I think overall, even, Ida, I've been one of his biggest critics, particularly relative to build-up play. I thought was one of his better games in that regard, particularly in the first half. He was able to drop and link up and be productive and not just pass straight back. I thought he was better in that phase of play than he has been.
I think there's quite a few things we can dig into, with some individuals as we will, and just as we're talking there about the way we perform tactically and so forth, there was some things I'd kind of noticed, and I'd like your opinions on as well. But one of the biggest things for me with the game was, was it the old cliche, a game of two halves? When you're looking at that first half, I thought we were so dominant and moving the ball about well, with a bit better finishing. We could have been 2 or 3 goals up quite easily. McGregor played a great pass through for Maeda, which he completely scuffed, when he was right through. Yang, I thought he hit the bar, but to me, I thought he went with the wrong foot to finish it as well. I thought it was a left foot finish all day long and went with his right, hit the bar with it. And these are the kind of margins there. And with the Ajax goal, if we're just looking purely at, the way the game went, I mean, that was handball, wasn't it? And any other game, that's given us handball. So a few concerns that I'll mention, because, hey, we're on brand. And, we look at these things and we see what we can gain from them. But, you mentioned Tierney, but one of the first things that struck me was how quickly, especially in the first half, really, where Celtic were getting that ball forward. There wasn't this kind of horseshoe of death that we had last season. They were moving the ball smartly. They were looking to play it forward and not just lumping it. Great passes. I mean, you look at the goal that Celtic scored, that Yang scored, I thought it was phenomenal. What a pass from KT. Great control and movement from Hatate, finding the space, beautifully weighted pass, and a great finish by Yang, by the way. Not a fan or anything, but fair play to the boy. What a touch and what a finish. Absolutely buried it. So it was all kind of looking good there, but I've been quite encouraged by the movement of the players, the passing and so forth, the pressing, but also that willingness to try and play a variety of passes, where it belonged passes, as well as trying to build up through the midfield. What did you think in terms of Tierney's display? Because obviously he only played a half really before your friend came on, which you may discuss a little bit as well about the second half. But in terms of KT's obviously just feeling his way back in after playing very little football.
We hope you enjoyed this free preview from all of us here at the Huddle Breakdown. We know you have options and we really appreciate you tuning in. To hear the rest of this episode and for much more Huddle Breakdown content, head on over to www.huddlebreakdown.com. We hope you consider subscribing. Thank you.